When you're working on a bass line, unless the whole thing is in the lowest register, there's going to be several positions on the bass where you could play the same exact thing. And each of those spots is going to have its own tone and its own weight and fundamental. They'll all sit in the mix a different way, and they'll all put your left hand in a different position on the neck. Figuring out the best spot to play something becomes second nature over time. The more that you write parts and try different stuff and play gigs and learn things off of records, that stuff gets more dialed in over time. But it's always worth considering. And if you're still learning harmony and learning where the notes lie on the neck, this is particularly important. So I'll start by playing a bass line in A, and I'm going to play it in 3 different spots. The notes will be E, F sharp, and A. So I'll play it at the 2nd fret on the top string, the 7th fret on the 2nd string, and the 12th fret on the 3rd string. So that line was played in 3 different spots. We're not changing octaves at all. That part's being played in the same register each time, but we're playing it in a different position on the neck of the bass. That 2nd fret on the top string is probably the worst out of the 3 overall. It just doesn't have that much low end compared to the other 2, but it does have an attitude and top end to it that the other positions don't have. This 7th fret of the 2nd string is probably the best position overall. It's got good low end to it. It's really comfortable to play in that position, and you can easily bring in the lower octave. And up here at the 12th fret on the 3rd string, that's by far the fattest sound. So depending on what you're going for, that could be a great choice as well. Of course, you'll play the open E string all the time, and there'll be plenty of other situations where other open strings come into play as part of a line or a lick or a riff or something. But open strings do sound a lot different from the same note fretted. So an open A sounds a lot different from an A at the 5th fret. Same with the D and G. If a line has all fretted notes in it, an open string can sound kind of inconsistent and out of place next to those. Take a simple bass line that goes from G to A. If I play that as an open A, it sounds kind of inconsistent. It works, but it doesn't sound as good as playing both notes fretted. Also, if you're fretting the note, you have more control over note length as you push the string down, and how you approach and leave a note. You can slide into it, slide off of it. Lastly, if you were working on a line in the lowest register and you wanted to shift up and play a similar part or the same part up an octave, there's different ways of approaching that, and you can get really different results. Let's take a simple line with long notes. It'll be G to D and then C to D. I'll play it in the lowest octave and then shift up an octave. So that works good by itself, but if you were to do that exact thing in a full band setting, these notes here would disappear. There's just not much fundamental or low end to these notes. But the same thing up in this position works much better. Same notes, same octave, but there's a lot more low end here. So you would still be supporting the band, and it would still sound great. So let's put that together. Much more consistent low end. And then it becomes more about shifting smoothly up to that second octave. You may have run into this already on gigs or rehearsing, where there's a great full sound going, and then you switch to a different register and the bass kind of goes away. So it's just good to keep in mind where these parts sound the best and keep that good supportive sound going.